We knew they were going to try everything to try to get Donald Trump reelected. And the next step is sabotaging the post office. And this is super important to know about. So, yes, Donald Trump floated yesterday the idea of delaying the presidential election. Unlikely to happen. He doesn't actually have the power to do it. He can mess up the post office pretty badly, and that's what he's trying next. So to set this up, coronavirus hits, but we know we have an election coming up in November. Okay, simple solution, you vote by mail. And when we say vote by mail, we don't mean some new system. We just mean expanding absentee ballot access to anybody that wants an absentee ballot. Whether or not coronavirus is under control in November, we don't know. It's increasingly looking like it's going to be out of control, but we expand absentee ballot access to everybody. We've got a solution for a safe election. Trump is against it. Trump is against it because he says there will be fraud. Trump doesn't understand that vote by mail is the same in this case as just absentee. We're not talking about a different system. He's either confused or he's lying or he's distorting or whatever. We don't know. Well, governors mostly, fortunately, take matters into their own hands and they expand absentee ballots. They, in some states, say everybody can get one. In others, they say you still have to have a valid reason for requesting an absentee ballot, but fear of catching coronavirus counts as a valid reason. Some states are doing other types of expansions, but for the most part, governors do the right things. So what is Trump's next move? Well, he's trying to neuter and kneecap the post office. Donald Trump has appointed Louis DeJoy to be Postmaster General. DeJoy just happens to be a huge Trump donor who wants to see Donald Trump reelected. And DeJoy has announced that he's going to eliminate overtime for hundreds of thousands of postal workers. Overtime widely expected to be needed as we have a record number of people opting to vote absentee rather than in person, which could delay mail services and, of course, prevent the delivery of the ballots. In other words, Trump, through his Postmaster General, is trying to cause the very problems that he cited as the reason why we shouldn't have vote by mail. Louis DeJoy is also considering closing a bunch of post offices across the country. And DeJoy is using kind of coded language to try to hide his intentions, saying things like, well, listen, we haven't done any kind of reform in the post office for a long time. We're going to take a fresh look at the operations of the Postal Service. This is all code. Now, we know that because of coronavirus and because we know that absentee ballot access has been expanded in a bunch of states around the country, there will be way more absentee ballots this year than arguably in any prior year. And we are just a few weeks from the start of that. Remember, 4.5 weeks from now, some states start voting absentee. So what do they want to do? Cut the post office. This is completely obvious. 3 months before an election, Trump puts in a big donor to run the post office. And immediately, Trump's donor says, whoa, 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 stop the clock. Let's reduce mail service. What? People are emailing me saying, how is this legal? That's a great question. This is extremely authoritarian, something we're now used to with Donald Trump. This is another example of regulatory capture. And this is another example of the right wanting to suppress turnout. If you can't stop people from going to the polls as easily, because lots of people are going to be voting by mail, prevent their ballots from being delivered by hurting the post office. This is the strategy. And it should be mentioned, sometimes I point out Democrats and Republicans are both part of maintaining this status quo, or they're both mostly on board with expanding the military budget or whatever. This is not a both sides issue. For, is it 20 years? Is it longer? The right has had the strategy of trying to hold down turnout in certain areas to try to win elections. The left doesn't do this. The left doesn't consider as a top strategy for winning elections, let's figure out how to prevent people from voting or how to prevent people's votes from counting. So first of all, number one, we have to so overwhelm the vote that these strategies won't work. I've been saying that for a year or longer, and I hope that now everybody understands why it's true. Secondly, there is a maybe possible backfire effect here. So right now, red states have been way more hit by coronavirus than blue states for now. This could mean that red states are doing more online shopping because it's safer to go shopping in blue states than red states. And so hurting the Postal Service might actually anger more Republicans than Democrats. Now, whether they'll link it to Trump's postmaster and hold Trump accountable is another story. Remember that when Obamacare passed and Republican governors opted not to do the Medicaid expansion, a lot of those red state voters blamed Obama, even though Obama gave the governors the tools. It was the governors who opted not to do it. They may not actually hold the right people accountable, but they are doing it. They're doing it right now. This is not a dress rehearsal. And that is almost going to be everybody must vote. And this is not a dress rehearsal are very quickly becoming the phrases of the next 3 months. If you've been watching the show, you've probably heard me talk about how much I love my Helix mattress. Well, I was really excited to hear that Helix has launched a new company called Allform, which makes premium, customizable sofas and chairs with the same level of quality and comfort that I expect from these guys. And Allform is one of our sponsors today. They're giving you 20% off at allform.com/Pakman. They actually sent me a couch, which I put in my living room at home. It's now my favorite piece of furniture in the house. It took me just minutes to set it up. It's solidly built. It's huge. It's roomy. It has a modern minimalist design, which I love, but it's also very comfortable. Fabric is soft, clearly very high quality. It has become the focal point of my living room. Their prices are very reasonable. And when you get a new sofa or chair, you get 100 days to decide if you want to keep it. And the best part is everything comes with a lifetime warranty. Stop buying poorly made furniture. Go to customize your own Allform sofa or chair right now and get 20% off your entire order when you get there by going to allform.com/Pakman. I've also put the link right underneath this video.